welcome to the CliffAlias podcast.
Why, thank you.
I'm Michael Clifford, aka CliffAlias. This is my mother, Carol Clifford, and we're going to be going over some of my manic episodes as well as perspectives as a parent or kind of advice that you could give as well. We'll go over a little bit of perspective on my diagnosis and journey, impact on family and relationships, support and understanding, moments of hope and growth, and then advice and reflection for the first half, and then recognizing mania, your emotional experience, managing and responding, impact on our family, and then reflection and growth. And then we'll also kind of go into episodes as well. So we'll start with, do you remember the first time you noticed something different about me that made you concerned?
Would have been December of 2011. You were not studying, not eating, running on adrenaline, hanging out with your friends, being the mascot at school, running the food bank, working at the skate shop, and just generally go, 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 go. It was about December 18th or so, Burt Church Invitational, which is a basketball tournament. Michael very energetically was the Ram mascot. And then a couple days later, I worked at a different school, and I had 18 missed calls from his principal, who was very concerned about his mental health because he was rambling on and entering classrooms and trying to track people down to give them his perspective on what they needed to do in life. So, so that evening when we finally got home, he wrote a very long, rambling page of thoughts.
Like written or?
Written thoughts, and then he said he was tired, wasn't eating, kept pushing his food away. So he'd been wearing his hockey jock pants because he couldn't find any clean underwear, and that's what he went to bed with. So his dad told him, my husband told him to go to bed, probably about 10 o'clock. And he went to bed, and then he just started hollering that he needed help. And I went up, and I was quite concerned because he was, his heart was racing, he was bright red. So we called an ambulance. They wanted to know if I thought he would be violent. And I said, no. I said, this is just out of character for him because he's a very kind person. So when the ambulance attendants came, because it was a domestic call, we had a police car, an ambulance, and 4 attendants. Michael had left his car at school because one of his teachers had kind of tracked him down and said, hey, come to the office with me. And I'm very thankful always for that. His sister picked him up, and then he had to stop at the skate shop and give them his advice. He had to stop somewhere else to get some money from the bank, and then he was talking to everybody, hey, you're the best person you can be. So anyhow, went with him by ambulance to the Foothills Hospital
in Calgary.
And they said that they would triage him, and they would come and get me when he was ready. After about an hour and a half or 2 hours had passed, I went to ask where my son was, and they said they didn't know. And I said, well, you better find out, or I'm going to open all the curtains, because he came in by ambulance, and they just weren't sure where he had gotten to. And in fact, it turned out that they had medicated him, and he was sleeping. So he was in an emergency curtained bed. And they kept waking him up to ask him how he felt, what had brought him into the hospital. And finally they got him up to the adult psych ward, a high observation room, at which time they said they would be observing him for the evening, and we could go home. They weren't really quite sure what was going on with him. The ambulance attendant had grabbed from his dresser a little vial of fluid and something else, and it turned out it was just mouthwash. And so he wanted to know if I was concerned, had he taken anything, and I said I didn't think so. So gave them whatever information I had, which I had just said, and sat with him all night that night, and then
in the psych ward.
No, in the emergency, and then when they took him upstairs to the psych ward the next morning, he had now been without proper sleep, probably for 36 hours. And because it was an adult psych ward and he was only 17 at the time, it was really quite frightening, but there was no room in the adolescent psych ward. So that's where they put him for the first few days. He was trying to psychoanalyze anybody that came across his path and help them and give them advice, and he was just being very positive and very upbeat. So finally, after they probably asked him a million questions and asked us a million questions, they said, okay, you'll be happy to know that we're not going to diagnose him as schizophrenic, but we're thinking he's bipolar. At which time then they had a litany of medication. They kept him in the hospital for 3 weeks. They did move him to the adolescent psych ward. He was allowed to have company. We could take him out on half-day passes because it was Christmas time. Half-day passes didn't always go all that well. He usually wanted to go back to the hospital sooner rather than later. One night there was a lockdown at the hospital because somebody had seen a gun or thought they'd seen a gun, so we couldn't take him back, so he had to stay with us. So we had to get emergency medication, and then just generally keep an eye on him for the evening. And then when the morning came, we took him back. We went every day to see him, and he finally got out probably, it was 3 weeks. So probably beginning of January, when the kids have gone back to school, they have a quick month of school, and then they write their final exams. So at that time, I guess one of the things I really noticed was that Michael had always been really brilliant. He was on the road to getting 100% in the Math 30 departmental final.
Math 30 pure, yeah.
Math 30 pure, and it's a big feat to do that, but his math teacher had all the faith in the world. And we took him for tutoring. He couldn't handle the tutoring. He would do his homework, but he lost his math brain. That's the only way to put it. And he ended up with a 76%. He'd gone into the final with a 98% average. He just couldn't do math anymore. Just couldn't. And so it took a while for that math brain to come back, but eventually it did. So his principal was super understanding. His teachers were great, so they managed to get him extra time for exams, separate setting, and he went up and down with moods with medication. So I likened the manic episodes to Tigger and Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore. So when Michael's manic, he's Tigger, and he's go, 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 and he's got a ton of energy. And when he finally comes down after a manic episode, he's Eeyore, very slow thoughts, slept a lot, and I just wanted a happy medium. I just wanted a Winnie the Pooh and Piglet kind of kind of thing. So and that was our journey. And then he finished high school, won a couple of scholarships, managed to keep his marks up, was still working, doing different jobs here and there. And then in the fall of 2012, he went off to university and left. So, and that's where I couldn't keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
But he had a very good friend, Keon, who Was it
Well,
with him?
I didn't know Keon until
Um,
um, my more more so my second year.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
we can get into the second Mac episodes in that later.
okay.
But like, what was it like for you when I was first diagnosed with bipolar disorder?
It's heartbreaking. It's like you've taken this brilliant, on the road to huge success young man and just kind of
Dampened my sails.
sidelined him, I guess, if you will. So it was, things that used to come easily to him didn't come so easily anymore.
I think some of that was just the transition from high school to university in general, anyways. Like when like you're having to be in school, 6 hours a day. Whereas in university, you can go to class, you can not go to class, you can do whatever you want with your day. So I think that was more of it. Also, is just kind of this the difference in the structure of your day and what kind of
Mhm.
you're not forced to do, but like the requirements of high school and how they set you up for success rather than university where it's kind of all on your own merit. And I was more interested in partying than anything else. So
Party 101. But through all of that journey, you made lifelong, really good friends.
hmm so how did you initially feel about the label bipolar? Did it make things clearer, more confusing?
Made things clearer because there were probably times when you were in grade 11, so that would have been 2010, 2011, that some of your energy was really hypomania. And once we started learning about, the different parts of bipolar and the terminology that went with it, it explained a lot of things and didn't necessarily make them, it made it clearer. Um, and I think that there are many signs that maybe other families that are going through a similar journey would be interested in knowing, like, what were the first things we saw, um, and how you always had like a photogenic memory, I guess, if you will. You didn't really study, you just took it all in and rambled it all back out, and maintained top marks in high school, which isn't necessarily the be all to end all to getting into university. University requires more writing and probably more thought process, which your brain then was struggling to keep up with. So
Yeah, I took writing 1000 3 times. The first time I took it, I was doing okay in it, but I didn't start my research paper when I should have. I left it to the final 2 weeks of school, and I just didn't know what I was doing, and elected not to write the research paper, therefore failing my writing 1000 the first time. And then the second time I was in school for it. I had a manic episode and had to withdraw. And then the third time I took it, I had a manic episode again, but this time I was not going to drop it. I was gonna bang it out and make sure I got that. So, all right. So that was your perspective on my diagnosis and the first bit of my journey. Next, we'll be covering the impact on family and relationships. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is the impact on family and relationships. So, Mom, how has my mental health journey impacted you as a mother?
I guess I never stopped worrying about you. So
I mean, you worry about Jackie and Connie all the time, too.
yeah, but maybe worry isn't the right word.
Cognizant.
Yeah, I'm just aware that you're in a good space You're always med compliant. I don't have to worry about you not taking your meds. What I do have to worry about is not if another manic episode is going to happen, but when, and how can we manifest life so that it doesn't happen. So that's
Well, I never told you this, but I have a new psychiatrist.
okay.
So he sat in on one of my meetings with Dr. McGurr,
Uh-huh.
and now they've fully hired him, and he's taking on new patients. So I see him on the 23rd of September. But I mean, hopefully, once we get my medication, not that it's not figured out now, but I think it could be optimized a little bit more than what it is now, because I'm on so many different medications that maybe I could be put on one. Well, I'll have to be on multiple for sure, but like maybe one medication could do the job of two. We'll see how that turns out. But were there times where when you felt helpless, and if so, how did you cope?
Helpless, certainly in the psych ward intake process, in that after the first couple of times, probably Lethbridge was the best psych ward for you, and that it was smaller. It seemed more personal. They actually cared about you. I felt at Foothills you were just one of too many patients. And this last time at Peter Lougheed, you knew what you needed was your meds. We knew what you needed was your meds. But because it was Christmas time and the process, and they lacked doctors and they lacked insight into who you were, that it took them a week before they finally got proper, decent medication into you where you could function. And then they could not believe the difference, which is what we've been asking for. So that part was frustrating. And then they lost your clothes. They misplaced them. Couldn't answer me on that one. Different processes. The first intake, they tried to keep your dad's jacket. Argued with me that it belonged to one of the doctors. When you had your laptop at the Peter Lougheed in one of your other manic episodes, that got left behind. Well, they had accidentally taken it into the nurse's lounge to charge it. So somebody finally tracked it down and brought it out to us. Being manic during COVID was difficult. And just sometimes the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing.
In the medical field?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the medical field. And there's just not enough mental health people to help the increasing number of mental diagnosis in our young students, young people. So that part is frustrating in that like there's no magic wand that will fix it. It's just frustrating. So you have to become an informed parent. You can't be angry. You have to find different ways of coping and carrying on. So.
And then how has our relationship changed because of my mental health?
We were always close, and now we're just closer.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So next comes support and understanding. So what did you do to learn about bipolar disorder when I was diagnosed?
I read up on it. Went to your appointments with you where they would allow me in for 15 minutes, and then they would have you by yourself for 15 minutes, so I could provide insight into your journey, but it also I could ask questions. And that was your first doctor at the Foothills,
Dr. Montgomery.
Dr. Montgomery. His nurse was absolutely most wonderful. She was very informative. I could phone
She
her.
still works there. I
Does she?
see her when I go in. Her name's
Oh.
Brandy.
Brandy? There
Yeah.
you go. Anyhow, she was lovely. And so she helped alleviate a lot of the worries that we could get through it, and there were resources available. But it was more, I guess I just did more reading. There didn't seem to be any family group sessions that we could partake in that were, close at hand. We're in Airdrie. Calgary's a big city. The waiting list is long. There's way more people needing mental health care than they have mental health practitioners for. So you have to do your due diligence, know what sleep is key, and still, manage family dinners, manage holidays, stressful times.
Yeah. One of the biggest thing, the biggest healer of all things is sleep. So as long as you can keep a good, healthy relationship with sleep, then a lot of the time you can avoid a lot of these situations. Because when I start to go manic, I just get less and less and less sleep. Not because I'm not trying to sleep, but because just my brain is going so fast that it's not allowing me to sleep. So
the other thing too is to be aware of what alcohol and or drug use can continue to do to your brain, especially developing brain in young people. You still think you can go out drinking. You still thought you could maybe, have the occasional toke of marijuana. And in the end, it had to be your journey.
well, the medical professionals were always like, yeah, don't do any. I never did any drugs besides smoking weed, but my psychiatrists were always like, don't do that, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it anyways. And it took me until I think 2015 before I stopped. And the only reason I stopped was because I had like a 3-hour panic attack one time, and then it happened again after that, another 3-hour panic attack, and then I just stopped after that. So yeah, what's something you wish other parents understood about supporting a child with bipolar disorder?
That's not a choice. And chosen. Sometimes it's their behaviors that have gotten them where they are, but and it could be a familial thing where other members have gone undiagnosed that maybe they're ADHD or they're bipolar. Michael used to always say to me, you need to look at my brain because my eyes do this, and he'd show me his jiggly eyes and tell me that that's what his brain was doing. After 2 or 3 concussions, one doctor did notice that one pupil was dilated and one wasn't. She was quite concerned that there was abnormal brain activity. Then that went away after proper rest and staying away from sports for a bit. But the night that he went into the hospital when he was diagnosed in December of 2011, one pupil was dilated, one wasn't, and the ambulance attendant said, "This is cause for concern, and we're going in now." So I had a minute to grab my stuff and get out the door. So
Jason Wagner, who's a good friend of mine, he's also bipolar. He wrote Manic Man. He was also complaining about his eyes being abnormal when he had his manic episode. So I think maybe some more research needs to be done into like what your brain does to your eyeballs while you're
your eyes are the
mania.
window. Your eyes are your window. They say eyes are the window to the soul, but they are the window into, what is going on in your brain. Concussion protocol has changed in that it's mandatory rest. You don't, you don't sit out for, half a period of hockey and then go back in and play. So high impact sports,
Yeah.
there's that. There's there was a news article on TV about marijuana and its increase in potency and what it's treated with or grown with. Like back in the day, marijuana was just a marijuana plant that, you could grow illegally, but you could grow it. And now that it's legal, I guess there's different brands, different flavors, different whatever, but it's dangerous. It's very dangerous because they don't come with a label like our groceries do. It's not like this one contains this much whatever. So
the labels do tell you what percentage of THC versus CBD versus whatever else.
If you buy it from a pot store, but if you're just buying it on the street.
Oh, right.
Right? So there was that time where you'd gone out with your friends and you thought, oh, I can just have a hit of, I'll just have this toke with these people, these random people. And you really struggled that night. So.
When was that?
Keon brought you home.
Oh.
It was on New Year's or something.
Yeah, we were at a rave around Christmas time.
Yeah. So.
But, yeah, holidays can be, not that they were any, well, I guess having manic episodes is pretty traumatic, but holidays can be hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
For regardless of.
I'm just wondering, like at Christmas time, if it's the lights and the excitement, and because how many of your manic episodes have been in December?
First manic episode was in December. Second manic episode was in January. Third manic episode was in November, end of October, beginning of November. Fourth manic episode was in May.
It was hockey playoffs, yeah.
In May. Fifth manic episode was in... Sorry, no.
May again?
No, because the first one was the beginning of December, wasn't it? Or it was in November, I think, again, because that's when Zoe and I broke up. I think was around November, December, but it was around Christmas. And then fifth manic episode was in May, and then sixth manic episode was in December around Christmas. But like, were there resources out there, people or moments of advice that really helped you know how to support me?
Nope.
Part of the reason why I want to do this podcast is just because teach people how they can go about their mental health journey, especially if they're bipolar. So
yeah, well, I'm fortunate that I have benefits and I could see a therapist. I went to a couple therapies, but it ended up being more about my kids than about myself. So I just did my own reflection and help my kids as best I can. But it's not a stigma. Like, I don't feel stigmatized at all by Michael's diagnosis. And I'm not afraid to talk to people about it. I talk to students about it that I work with, and if it can make it a difference in how students that are now in my realm of work, if they can reach out and find a safe place to land in me, then I guess that's a resource. But I had teachers, I had friends that I could reach out to, family, certainly my sister. They've been there for me. So,
well, there's a resource now for bipolar people called the Organization for Bipolar Affective Disorder, also known as OBAD, and they meet 2-3 times a week, every week. There's a group most of it's online, but you can do an in-person session once a week on Sundays in Calgary. I'm not sure when it is in Edmonton, but there's an OBAD in Calgary, there's an OBAD in Edmonton, and then they do online sessions. And that was kind of a resource that only really became available in when went it? Do you remember the first time I went to OBAD? Was it
It was a couple of years ago.
20? I think it was in. No, it was before COVID, because we used to do it at the Sheldon Schumer.
Well, we did a couple sessions online on the phone too, but then it was like, okay, you only get this many turns, and then it seemed that
What, with OBAD?
was it OBAD or was it therapy, online therapy? Anyhow, we were kind of.
OBAD, it wasn't OBAD. OBAD, you can utilize
Okay.
as much time and speak as many times as you want, go as many times as you want. But there's that resource out there now. So, yeah. All right, so next we're going to talk about moments of hope and growth. So, looking back, what are some of the proudest moments you've had watching me navigate my journey?
Graduating university, taking a 4 or 5 year course and turning it into 7 years, but you did finish.
Yeah, I did.
You did graduate. Maybe not finding you haven't found your passion in life, but you have purpose in life, and we're proud of you overcoming the obstacles, stating what you need, being able to reach out for help when you need it, and just being the good son that you are. So
yeah, okay. I mean, so what strengths do you think living with bipolar has brought out in me?
I suppose perseverance.
Resiliency.
Yeah, there's a word, resiliency, in that, and you're very aware of
My condition and what I need in any given moment.
Yep. I'm Michael Clifford, I'm bipolar, and I need help. So.
Yeah, I don't have any problems asking for help.
No. And that is a strength. Well, a lot of people hide from it, but they don't need to. So.
All right, next comes advice and reflection on the first half of things. So if you could go back and talk to your younger self at the start of this journey, what would you say for you?
Oh, my younger self. I guess I was younger when we started this journey. Well, I guess a blog like this would have been helpful in that we wouldn't have thought, okay, you're ADHD and you just need to, carry on and settle down. And, we tried hockey and football and baseball and all of those things.
Well, but I never really had troubles focusing, though. I was just hyperactive.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of energy.
Which could have been hypomania, could have been...
Yeah, but usually bipolar disorder doesn't really present itself until your early 20s. So just a combination of drinking too much, smoking too much weed, concussions, stress, all kind of conglomerated into bringing it out sooner. Like, I feel like I would have been bipolar regardless. It's just a matter of when.
Well, just recognizing it, being available. I think I've always been available for you, so it's not, it's never strained our relationship to the point where we didn't talk. I mean, there were stressors. Certainly when you bounce from one idea to the next, job changing, job hunting, job bouncing, moving every single year since 2012. So that's finally put my foot down and said, no more moving. And you got to figure it out. You got to figure life out. You'll always be my son, but, got to treat you like an adult, not a little boy.
Yep. So what advice would you give to other parents who have a child living with bipolar disorder or is going through the stages of trying to figure out what might be wrong with their child?
That they should seek doctor's advice. There are many cries for help that children make in different ways, starting at certain ages, whether it's they start stealing or they start lying or they stay out all night, can't complete any tasks. There are, I guess, agencies you can call if you know about them. I think there just needs to be more information readily available for the public. And there's just so many people in any given community that they get overlooked. So
Children do?
Yeah.
Or
advice for parents to do with their children. So, right?
Okay. So how do you see my future now compared to how you saw it years ago?
Going forward,
Still figuring things out. Yep. So next we're going to talk about recognizing mania. So how did you first recognize when I was entering a manic episode? I think we've kind of already covered that, haven't we?
Yeah, well, it was that I am the next Jesus and you need to listen to me.
All right.
That was like...
I thought I was the next Jesus for a very short period of time. But, I remember going into my first manic episode and, it was probably, all of December where things just started to stack on each other. I remember I was really into writing raps and they weren't particularly good, but I remember thinking that I could be the next Drake for a short period of time as well. But just I remember telling some of my friends, I was just there's something wrong with me. I just don't know what it is. Because, yeah, I would just feel brain fog or I'd have so much energy that I didn't know what to do with.
When you always had, I got a great idea, and your friends would go, oh, yeah, no. So, let's go out and see if I can change that frowny face or change that happy face to a frowny face on the speed cameras. So, going down, 8th Street or something, and just to go fast. But you always put your heart out there for your friends. And, you were their DD, or you were their backup. You were their wingman. You lent out your cell phone, never got it back. It was that...
Just wanted to help people.
Yeah, just that heart of gold. The only recognition really of mania was when he started, telling people, I'm the next Jesus and you need to listen to me. That was...
I don't think I really told other people that. I think it was just a...
Just a ramble at home?
Yeah.
But what were you saying to that girl that when he rescued you?
Oh, I had just... Basically, we had a student council meeting and there was this girl that I didn't particularly like, and it wasn't really like me to call somebody out and for things they have done or should be doing. I just remember that I made her cry. It didn't make me feel particularly very well, but yeah, that was that situation. So were there specific signs or behaviors that stood out to you? Like, because I know you mentioned it was December 18th, but I went in on December 20th of 2011 was when we went to the emergency. But, like, when was there anything that week leading up to it besides that 1 or 2 days before the 20th?
Well, you were at home doing homework, and your friend Cody came over and said, "Hey, do you want to hang out?" And I said, "Well, he's doing homework." Homework's overrated. You were like, "Yeah, I can do it later." And so off you guys went. I don't know if they needed a ride somewhere or what it was, but anyhow, you went off with them. And then I was looking at your writing, and it was like very E.E. Cummings. There was no capitalization, no periods, no commas. It was just like one big, long, rambling paragraph.
How many days before the 20th was that?
It was probably a week before. So, and then when your principal called, Mrs. Davidson called and said, Michael, he can just take a couple days off from school and maybe he can get some sleep because he's really been going, giving 110%.
When did she say this?
When you had when she found you when she kept you in her office at school, and I was.
Oh, that was the 20th.
Was that the 20th? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but, a couple of days before school got out for the Christmas break, so.
So, I mean, I don't think you knew it was something, but, like, did you ever doubt yourself, wonder if it was just energetic or if it was mania? I mean, you didn't really even know what mania was.
Yeah, I wouldn't have recognized it as mania. I just thought it was like lack of sleep, ADHD, because we can all be a little manic, like.
Mm-hmm.
Remember one time I was madly cleaning the house and you thought we were getting company. So seems Mom only cleaned when we were getting company. But,
mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that would be recognizing, what parents could look for. Just any behavior that's out of character for your child, whether it's more energy, less energy. Sometimes raising kids not an easy job, so.
Mm-hmm. So next we're going to jump into your, as a mother, emotional experience. So what emotions did you feel when you saw me in a manic episode, like any of the manic episodes that I've had?
Scared. I guess I was always scared that you would decide to harm yourself. Because you always had this, okay, Mom, I don't really want to commit suicide, but I'm going to tell them that I want to commit suicide because then they'll pay attention to me.
Yeah.
And so, and I was able to convey that to a couple nurses. I said he'll be telling you that he's feeling suicidal, but it's really, he just wants you to pay attention to him, and however that looks, it's not a go to your room and shut up kind of thing. So we spent as many hours as we could at the hospital, but then once you got into the psych ward, that's not a place where they let parents hang out with their child, right?
Yeah.
So
what about like fear, confusion, helplessness?
Fear and helplessness, absolutely. I wasn't confused. I knew where you were. I knew what you needed. They just didn't want to listen to us, and yeah, so.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like you had to walk on eggshells around me during my manic episodes?
There was one time in Lethbridge. You were sitting in a chair, and I walked up to you and you said, "You're in my space, and I need you to leave." And you'd never, ever treated me like that before. That was with Rob Mercer. And so I just went into the bathroom and had a little cry and took a breath and came back out. And you're like, sorry, Mom, because you recognize that, that's not our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But you were pushing me away at the same time that you were, I need you here. So,
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about my first manic episode, about a lot of the stuff that stuck with you, but in terms of my other manic episodes, was there a moment during one of those that really stuck with you? I mean, I'm sure you have memories of each and every one.
So, well, just when I would call to get a report, this last manic episode, get a report, he's just really dysregulated. Okay. And what are you doing to help him, calm down? And it didn't seem that they were doing anything. So,
Well, they couldn't really do anything because they didn't have a psychiatrist there to prescribe me any additional medication. The only medication they could prescribe me is the medication that they give to anybody who's misbehaving, which is just some benzos.
So I guess that would be a high level of frustration in that we needed somebody to get to you. And finally a doctor did come in, said, you can take him out for half an hour. So we went out for our first 30 minutes, bought something to eat.
Which manic episode?
This last one.
Oh, okay.
And then...
manic episode number 6.
Mm-hmm. Lots of things happen in December, especially around the 19th of December. However, it is just very frustrating when there's all these people needing help, and some nurses are more compassionate than others. Some doctors are more compassionate. They told us that Michael would be in the hospital for at least another week or 10 days, and so we thought, okay, well, we'll go away for New Year's Eve, and we got halfway to BC and get a phone call. We're releasing him today. So released him into the care of his roommate, who did a really great job.
Bryce.
Yep.
Bryce Baker.
And then when we got home, Michael came out and stayed with us, and he was still not quite healed.
Not even close. I was still quite I was still quite manic, to be honest.
Yeah.
So.
But they figured you'd be better out than in, and
100%, because I could take my medication when I needed to, and I knew if I needed more medication what I could take, and we'll get into a lot of the other kind of behavior in later on in this podcast, but we're just kind of going through the motions right now through just some generic questions. But yeah, so in terms of managing and responding, what did you try to do to help me during mania? Just kind of be there and sounding board,
making sure that you took your medication, which you always did. You didn't have to worry about that, but making sure that you had maybe, extra doses here. I've still got bottles of medication from various episodes. So just cooking a healthy meal, playing cards, trying to guide you in your love life. I don't know.
So were there things you learned not to do when I was manic?
Well, me not talk so much.
Just let me ramble?
And just listen more. Unless you asked a question. So, but we tried, essential oils, dim lights, soft music, weighted blankets, salt lamps, any of the things that are out there that, help other people. Different activities. I just recently read somewhere that if you have rambling thoughts, to hum. Just hum some tune, because you can't think when you're humming.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how did you balance wanting to protect me while also giving me independence?
Oh, he allowed you to come home. When you wanted to come for a sleepover. So, and yet, you still had your own place to go to. And then tried a little, I guess in the past couple of years, it's been a little more, what would be the word I'm looking for? Like when you asked if you could move home, I said no. Right? And then, but I talked to Dad, and this is our plan. And I was kind of like, okay, I'll be talking to Dad too. So, because I don't think that that's in your best interest to, move home, change careers on a yearly basis. You need to stick with something. That's my advice. Just stick with something a little while longer so that your feet are more firmly planted on the ground before you. Like, do you think you were manic when you went to Vietnam?
No.
No. It was just a Tigger idea. So.
No, I just felt stuck. Because I thought I wanted to give teaching a go, but I wanted to try it out before I signed up for any kind of schooling.
Which is probably a good thing, because then you decided you didn't want to do it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember, I don't think I was manic when I went there, but in my first, a couple days of being there, I had to go up to 800 milligrams.
Well, I do a lot of parenting by phone. I've done a lot of, late night calls, long distance calls. I don't know, what would you call them? 1-800-HELP from Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, where are you right now? I'm in a field in Poland. I'm just walking. I'm really anxious. I think I'm having a panic attack. And I'm like, what time of the day is it? Well, it's 2 o'clock in the morning there. Okay. Can you get back to your dorm? Can you get back to your room? What color are the walls? What? I think they were pink or something. So.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
But that was my longest stretch of being healthy, was between 2014 and 2020. I was healthy for 6 years. So.
Because you were on the right dose of medication, or did you think you just grew out of and needed more? So.
Well, I'm not sure what kind of research is out there, but on an anecdotal basis, I think every manic episode that I've had, I've always needed more medication after that, even if the medication I was on was previously helping. I can't remember how much medication I was on when I was in Poland, but I think it was 600 milligrams.
But it was the Lethbridge, it was Dr. Kellerman that put you on
lithium, lamotrigine, quetiapine, paliperidone.
And then who put you on Invega Sustenna?
That's paliperidone.
Okay.
That was Dr. Kellerman.
Okay.
Because I had 2 manic episodes within 1 year. And then when I had my 4th and 5th manic episode, I had been off the paliperidone for a good number of months. But I remember during the months I was off of it, quite often, I think I was on as low as 300 milligrams of quetiapine. But I would have days where I would feel hypomanic, and I just didn't necessarily really know it was. Well, I guess I did know it was hypomania, but then I just upped my quetiapine by 200 or 300 milligrams for a few days, got out of the hypomania, and then went back down.
What'd you say your nurse's name was that's still at the hospital?
Brandy.
What about Becky? Wasn't there a Becky?
Yeah, Becky's been my nurse since
Okay.
2019.
All right.
But when I was with Dr. Montgomery, it was Brandy. Yeah. So, so next is the impact on our family. So how did my manic episodes affect our family dynamic or your daily life?
Well, it was exhausting when you were in the hospital.
Like anytime I'm in the hospital?
Yeah. Well, it's just the disruption to daily life and routine. I mean, I have a very understanding admin team, so, and always have had, because that's what we work with, right? Is teen and teen brains and, the whole mental health aspect. So anytime I needed time off, I was given it. There was one time you said, "Why didn't you come and see me when I was in the hospital?" And I was like, I was there every day. And I didn't remember it.
That was when I was in Lethbridge.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I was on... I don't know what else they gave me. Olanzapine, probably. It made me forget a bunch of stuff.
So, anyhow, and my auntie, like Auntie Lil, she's very supportive, but she also recognizes that she's old. She, doesn't want to be alone with you because she's worried that, what if you go manic? And I said, well, it won't happen just overnight, bang. So she was like, oh, okay.
Oh, really? I didn't know you had this conversation with her.
Mm-hmm. What if he goes manic? Well, he's not going to. Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do. And then you're calling me saying, what if something happens to Auntie Lil? She's 96. So we're all going. But I think the impact has been, like, sometimes it's tiring, exhausted, like going back and forth, the whole not being able to support you. What else? Frustrating to get the help that you need.
Mm.
To understand the medications that you're on and hope that there's a better way of doing things. And I don't know that it was a judgment thing. I don't worry about judgment. I don't know that it's out there.
What? In regards to what?
You being bipolar. I don't think any of my friends judge me for having a bipolar son or judge you for being bipolar. It's not like, oh, you did something wrong. No, it's like, okay, I get it.
Okay. Were there times where you felt you had to hide what was going on from your friends or relatives?
Maybe just Granny so that she wasn't hurt. Like didn't tell her right away when you were in the hospital. Just let her know kind of 4 or 5 days after. Because she feels really helpless and that she can't help you.
I need to call her.
So.
Yeah. Okay. All right, last little bit is reflection and growth. So, looking back now, how do you see my manic episodes differently than when they were first happening?
That maybe they can or cannot be avoided. And that...
What do you mean, can or cannot?
Well, I guess I question whether they could be avoided or...
Well, they're all avoidable.
So... I guess that's my question. Like, how can you avoid them?
Well, I was talking to Becky sometime in the last month, and I was just telling her about how like I learn more and more every manic episode, or like Because I think I was telling her about when Jessica and I broke up, about how like I took a week off basically, and that I ended up going a little bit hypomanic that week and just needed to take some time off to refocus. And we were just chatting about how like I wouldn't have known to do that before, or like.
Well, and I guess my fear, I mean, you're fortunate in that you have a very understanding boss, but probably more so because she has a bipolar child, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
So there's that piece. Because some of your jobs, part of your behavior in your work is not necessarily your true behavior. It's brought on by bipolar anxiety or hypomania, whatever, and it's cost you your job. That you should be able to disclose that you're bipolar without having to worry about keeping your job. And I guess that's a concern for me, right? In that, oh, they're going to let him go because he's bipolar, and they can't do that.
No.
So.
No. Yeah, so how has your understanding of mania changed over time as you've learned more about bipolar disorder?
Yeah, just become more knowledgeable about mania, what it looks like, what it does to the brain, what you need to address it. I mean, it's different for everybody. Medication is different for everybody. What one medication works for one doesn't necessarily work for another.
Mm-hmm.
And just wondering what other tools there are for our toolkit. We have lots of small tools, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. So what would you say to another parent currently watching their child go through mania for the first time?
I'll reach out.
To who?
Me. Just find an ear, see if there's mental health services like an Airdrie at the urgent care, but we don't have a hospital. And just be there for your child. So, tough love doesn't work, but make sure that they're safe, make sure that they know they're loved and that they have a place to land.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that was the final question. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, I guess even in my manic episode, did you ever see glimpses of creativity, passion, or humor?
Yes. All of the above. So,
can you think of any examples?
Well, when we went to that restaurant, when we weren't supposed to leave the hospital, but we did anyhow, and there was a mural of Waterton on the wall, and you said, that's a sign. I don't know what it was a sign of, but you figured it was a sign of getting well, maybe. So
I don't know. I always feel very divine when I'm in my manic episodes, and I feel like certain things are happening to me for certain reasons, and that it's this divine, otherworldly, whatever spiritual awakening that always usually happens. So, yeah, do you have anything else you'd like to add? I mean, this is kind of part one. We didn't necessarily get into what each one of my manic episodes looked like, and I would like to sit down again and talk about that another time. You have anything else you want to add?
Nope, I don't think so. Okay. Just that you're doing good, and
okay,
might have to tweak a few things, but
yeah. All right, I love you.
Love you.